No. Good afternoon, folks. We're going to talk tonight about an old shotgun, an old muzzle-load 10 gauge, 11 gauge shotgun. Years ago, when I was considerably younger, back in the early 70s, 1970, I had a friend named Lee Shealy that was a gunsmith, and part-time he did gunsmithing work. And he dabbed in muzzleloaders a lot. And he called me up one night and told me he had an old shotgun, or parts of a shotgun, that he had acquired in a deal somehow or another. And he thought I might be interested in it because I really like to, I worked with them, shot them, played around with muzzleloaders all the time. And he said, it might be something you might be interested in. Come on by and take a look at it. So I go down to his house one day, and one afternoon, he says, well, I got something to show you. He goes over there and he pulls down, let me lay it right here. He pulls down a barrel of a shotgun, double barrel shotgun, a muzzle-load shotgun that used caps, percussion type. And it's long. It's what I think it was like 39 or 40 inches long the barrel was. But it was old. It was old. Probably built in the early 1800s, the barrel was. But I looked at it. You could tell it had been used a lot, but it still looked sound. The barrel hadn't been wore out. And I said, well, that's pretty interesting, you know. I said, but I'm not interested right now in building a whole shotgun. I have to carve the stock out of a blank of wood, and then you got to put the locks and the hammers or everything on it. So I'm not into that right now. He said, well, I got something for you. He said, look at here. So he goes over there and he brings a big old bag over, sets it down on the table. And I look at it. I said, what you got? And he starts reaching in and pulling out piece by piece by piece. And in the barrel, in the bag, is the rest of the shotgun. There's the hammers, there's the locks and the triggers. Everything's there. But it's in just multiple pieces. And I said, somebody took it all apart. And then he starts pouring out the wood. And the wood seemed like it was about either 10 or 11 different pieces of wood. This gun had, it didn't blow up, but it's like it may have been dropped from some kind of height or on something that just shattered it. There was like 11 or 10 pieces of long, slender pieces, different sections of this stock. Just split, just like somebody took an axe, chopped it, splintered it up and down. But it wasn't an axe that done it, but it had done that. And I'm looking at it and I said, man, I've never seen a gun blow all apart like that. You know, unless it blew up with a bomb or something. But anyway, it was in all kind of pieces. He said, well, what do you think about it? Were you interested in it? And well, I don't know what you want for it. And so it wasn't much, like $100 or whatever. This in the 70s that would be a lot of money, but still, if this gun had been completed together, it would have been worth a lot more than that. But I took the wood and I'm just sitting here looking at it, and I said, well, this is one section, this is one section, and I kind of put it together, and it slid right in there, just like a puzzle. Just slid together. And I picked another section of it and I said, well, this looks like that would go right here. And it just slid right in there. And I sat there and I probably put 2/3 of it together, and it was just like sliding a jigsaw puzzle together. It just slid together. The way it was split down to grains, and it just kind of slid back together. I said, you know, it's all here. It's just broken in a bunch of pieces. I said, now I use what they call aquaglass, which is a fiberglass compound that you could mix together. You could add a little color to it, and you could actually, on small places anyway, you could refix a piece of wood a lot of times better than you. It's stronger than actual wood. And I said, you know, if I took some aquaglass and I put this together and I put this together, I could rebuild this thing. And I said, yeah, I'll take it. Be interested. I'll try to do it. So over a couple of months' time, I put this thing together piece by piece, little by little, and I stained it, colored it, and I put the wood back in and found out in pieces it was maybe missing. I found another old piece of wood and I put it together and carved it just right, slide it in there. I put that stock back together. And once I stained it and everything, if you really looked hard, you could tell some of the sling, you could tell where it could come together. But majority of them, it just went right with the grains of the wood. You couldn't tell it. You didn't realize what you're looking at. It was back together. And see how I use acroglass to put everything together. Wherever it is split, now it was actually stronger than the wood it was originally. So I had no doubt that it would hold together. It's just a matter of what the barrel was like. The barrel was old. This gun was probably built in the early 1800s. But it looked good, but it still had wear and tear and use over the years. So I decided to go and try it out and see if I could make it fire. Put new nipples on it, for the firing caps, and took it out there and I started working loads with it. I didn't know the exact caliber. It was because it was wore down from over the years, but it was probably a 10 gauge or 11 gauge originally. But I ended up using like 120 grains of black powder per barrel, and I didn't fire it just like you would a muzzleloader back in the old days. I actually put I guess you'd say waddings in it, plastic sleeves like a modern shell, because most of the old shotguns like that didn't have a choke, so they just scatter when they fired. Well, I ended up working a load up using fiber wads, using paper wads, and then using plastic shotgun sleeves, and I worked up a load with that thing. And I didn't have a choke originally, but at 30, 35 yards, you had it was like the load I was using number 4 shot. It throwed a really good pattern. It would probably be like a good, I guess you say, it might have been a full choke, but it may something close to a full choke at 35 yards. And so that was really good out of an old muzzleloader with no choke at all. And it just so happened the load I worked in the gun, and I had a hunting load for deer also worked up. And in it, I used now it's like a 10 gauge shell barrel probably, but I still use a 12 gauge plastic sleeve, and I put 3 50 caliber round balls in it. Now 50 caliber, like a 50 caliber rifle bullet. They're round, they're shaped like I guess you'd say buckshot, but they're super big buckshot. And at 47 yards, we had a 12-inch target. And 99% of the time, somewhere in that 12-inch target, all 3 of them round balls would hit. All 3 of them at 47 yards. And that was with this wad that I had worked up to, which was unbelievable, because that's fantastic for a modern shotgun shell. But anyway, it did. So I ended up with this gun, and I took it turkey hunting one time. Well, more than one time. But I had a particular hunt that kind of blew me away. I'd been down in the woods on an early morning hunt. It was like right at daylight. And I set up on a big, huge old oak that had fell over on the side of a hill. And I was just sitting up against the butt of that oak, and I was calling across the swamp. And I had Gobbler answer me. And I mean, he really answered me good. And like he double gobbled. And but I knew he was on the other side of the river. I said, well, he's not going to cross that river. But he sure is talking a lot. I said, and I kept calling to him, and he kept answering, And I'm sitting there with this double barrel muzzleloader and laid across my lap. And about that time, I hear the wings when I hear him coming. He's actually flown down. And as I hear it, it's getting closer. I can hear it coming. He's coming across the river. I'm close to the bank of the river, but he's on one side, I'm on the other, but he's coming to me. And sure enough, In the early morning fog, I look up there and I see him sit down, probably about 30 yards out, right in front of me. He sits down, boy, throws up there, boy, he cuts loose. Well, he no more cuts loose. He steps it open. I've already got the shotgun on him. And I let him have the right barrel. Boom! Well, when I let him have that barrel, he went over backwards, and he was down. I mean, that one shot, I got him. Well, when you fire like that, black smoke just bellers out all over the place. It's early morning fog in the morning, and that just hangs low to the ground. When it goes off, his flame shoots out in the barrel, smoke goes bellers everywhere, and I'm sitting there. I got that big gobbler, got him in the old muzzler, 150-year-old probably. Well, I no more than do that, and I'm trying to look around the fog of smoke, make sure that he did stay down, because I seen him blow backwards. Well, as I'm looking around, I hear it, poof, 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 and I think, oh no, he didn't stay down, and then, I can't see hard. And then I hear it, and I look up, and what it is, there's a second gobbler. All that gobbler I'd heard, there'd been two of them, and the second one is probably 15 seconds behind the first one, and he's coming in. And I look up, and I see the second gobbler coming right by me. And he's looked down, I guess he spotted me, and he flares up, and he tries to go the other way. Well, he probably ain't 35 yards. I just track him as he goes, and let him have the left barrel. Boom! And down he rolls. And I've got two gobblers. I think one had about 9.5, one had a 9-inch beers. Two big gobblers down. Bam, bam. And I've got two of them down just in a matter of seconds. Well, a friend of mine back then used to hunt. His name was Paul Green, and he's a good turkey hunter. And he told me that the day before he was going to be down that morning hunting. And I was thinking about him. I said, here it is, crack of daylight, 7 o'clock in the morning, and I've already got two gobblers down. That was a legal limit back then, by the way. And I said, I've got two gobblers down. And first thing daylight with an old muzzleloader. And so I just stood up and had a gun in my hand. I said, this smoke still about all over the air, all that black powder. And I said, eat your heart out, Paul Green. Yeah, I can't believe it. Well, when I said that, right behind me. Now, there's a big old tree I'd been sitting down against. I stood up and said, well, right behind me on the other side of that tree, like 6 or 7 foot, when I said, eat your heart out, Paul Green, right behind me, fellow says, yeah, I'm eating mine out too. And when he said that, I like to have a heart attack. Because there's a man standing there, he's 8 foot from me. And it's in this early morning fog and the black smoke. I whirled around like, what in the world? And a man looked at me, he said, you have no idea what you just did to me. And I'm looking at him like, what's going on? He says, son, he said, I heard that gobbler from a mile away. I ran all the way down here in the early morning to get in here to set up on this bird. He said, and they was cutting loose on that side of the river out there. He said, I picked this big old fallen tree down and I ran right up to it and I crawled up the edge at the back of it and I just had sat down. He said, I no more than sat down when the world ended on me. He said, all of a sudden, flame just bellowed up in front of my face. He said, stinky smoke, sulfur smell. He said, flames and black smoke bellowed every which way. And he said, then it did it again. He said, I didn't know what had happened. My heart like to stop. It scared me to death. That was me firing 2 barrels with muzzleloader. I was on the other side. This tree was probably 4.5 foot high, and I was sitting on the ground. So all he saw was the smoke, the flame shooting up. And so he said, you don't have any idea how you scared me. He said, I like had a heart attack. He said, I couldn't have been 4 foot behind you when it went off. He said, I didn't know you was there. I said, well, I didn't hear you come down either. So anyway, I got my birds. And I don't know what that man thought when he went home that day, but he might have had to clean his pants out because I probably scared the living daylights. In the dark, flames shoot out of the end of a barrel, and black smoke, smells like black sulfur, stinky smell. And he didn't know what it was. And most people don't hunt with muzzleloaders, so I scared him to death. But that gun, I lost it. A good friend of mine, after I killed turkeys like that, he was out one day, we was practicing with muzzleloaders, And he was noticing how accurate that gun was at 40-something, actually up 45 yards with the 3 50 caliber musket balls, and which was like shooting somebody with 3 rifle bullets at one time. And he loved to hunt on the ground, sit on the ground, and he used a shotgun, normal shotgun. Well, come muzzleloader season next year, he wanted to hunt with a muzzleloader. He didn't have one. And he asked me could he borrow that 10 gauge of mine and carry it down there to deer hunt with it. And I said, well, I don't normally hunt with the muzzleloader with buckshot, but if that's what you want to do, it'll do it. These ain't regular buckshot. This is like 3 rifle balls at one time. So he borrowed it and took it down there. Killed 2 deer that dang weekend with that gun. It's 40 yards, they come by, he one shot. Said they never run out of sight. 3 of them balls hitting it, it's like 3 rifle bullets hitting it one time. They went down the tracks. Killed 2. Borrowed it again the next week. After the muzzleloader season was over, took it rifle season, took it anyway. Killed another deer with it. I think about 40 years out, he killed 5 deer with that muzzleloader. Every one of them. That 3 round 50 caliber bullet balls, they lay them down. So he begged me to sell him that gun. He didn't even want to hunt a modern gun. He wanted to use that muzzleloader. Because when he pulled down on him, he didn't lose him. So he loved to hunt buckshot, and a lot of times you lose deer if you don't really get them good. Well, this was buckshot, but it's a super big buckshot. So whenever he pulled down with this gun, he wasn't losing deer because they made big holes. It was a lot worse than a regular buckshot. So I sold him the gun. But when I told him, I said, now if I sell this to you, if you ever decide you need money and you got to get rid of it, I want it back. I'll buy it back, whatever I sell it to you. Same thing. Okay, no deal, he said. No problem. And I sold it to him. Well, see, 4 or 5 years later, somebody made him a real deal on a couple of guns, and they wanted that gun too, and he sold it to them. Evidently didn't mean, his word didn't mean anything because he let it go. And it was a couple of years later when I went by to visit him, I noticed the gun wasn't there at his house, and he said, where's the shotgun? Oh, I got rid of that. Let me show you what I got for it. And I'm thinking, you don't even have any idea what you're doing. You told me you would never sell that gun, and then you sell it back to me. So I lost it. But it was a good old gun. And old muzzleloaders like that, you have to kind of custom load a load for them because they're not really accurate like a modern gun normally. But sometimes, for whatever reason, if you work the right load up, you can make a heck of a good shotgun or a rifle, whatever, out of the old guns. And I hated I lost that gun, but I never forget that man when he hollered. You know, he scared me to death too, because he was like 8 foot behind me when I fired them barrels in the dark, both barrels right in front of his face, and him not even knowing I was in there. Oh, that would scare me to death too. It would scare anybody to death. He done thought you died, went straight to hell, and Hades done opened up on you. Paul Green, eat your heart out. And then that man scared me to death. But got a double with an old muzzleloader, probably 150-year-old. So that's just one story about an old muzzleloader I thought I'd pass on to you. We'll go on to something else.